Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Josh Mansfield, the teacher with the Demon, and with me is Nathan Fox, one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and the weekly podcast Thinking LSAT. Nate, our email that today comes from Disappointed Debbie with the subject of the same disappointing score.
Debbie says, I've been studying for the LSAT since September of 2024. I got an initial diagnostic of 156, and I continued to study for months before taking the exam in January when I got a 163. Okay. That's not bad at all. That's 156 to 163. I mean, we usually think people can make a 10-point or more improvement. But 7 points, it's forward progress. That's great. Debbie continues, I knew that I had the potential to score in the 170s, so I committed to studying throughout the semester. I started PTing in the low to mid 170s, even getting a 178 in May.
To your point, Nate.
Yeah, no, it seems
That's
156 is a crazy good diagnostic. So, yeah, that's awesome. I took the exam again in June and felt confident about my performance. However, when I got my score back, I got a 163 again. Yeah, well. I mean, people are terrible at predicting their scores. Nobody knows. You don't know how well you did. You just don't. So shit happens. It completely devastated me, says Debbie. But now I'm studying again to take the exam in August. I've been PTing in the 170s again, including a 175. I'm proud when I see those scores, but I'm struggling not to feel worried since I was getting them before and I still got a 163. Any help or advice on how to get out of this headspace would be greatly appreciated. Love what you guys do at the Demon. Thank you for helping so many students like me accomplish their dreams. Best always, Debbie.
So here's the first thing that I tell students when they get scores back on a second test they're not happy with. There is a very real possibility that your 163 was at the top of your range, that your average was a 160. 163 was a particularly good day for you, but you could have just as equally or likely scored a 157. That 163 in May may very well be the bottom of your range.
Yeah.
And you just had a bad day and a bad test.
Yeah.
And you could have just as easily scored a 170. Right? And so first off, the number itself is just a data point. It's a data point that could be anywhere on a full spectrum of scores. And just because they happen to overlap does not mean that your spectrum has not moved.
Sure.
That's first and foremost, I think, is what's important. But the second, then, Debbie, the complete devastation is where I'm worried about you. That the fact that data point was so crushing, like, your practice tests are not lying to you. It's why we tell students to take it 5 times. You need to treat that official test just like you do a practice test. And you need to plan on taking it in August. You need to plan on taking this in September. And you need to plan on taking it in October. Yeah. And if you do that, you are going to have at least one test that is going to line up with your known ability that is reflected by your practice test scores.
Yeah, that's the part that I wanted to point at as well. I mean, she took the test in January and got a 163. Then she skipped at least one administration and took the test again in June, which once you start taking official tests, you should plan on taking all 5 of your official attempts if necessary. Just don't take it until you know you're ready. And then once you know you're ready, then take it back to back to back to back. And so what she did was she took it in June. Well, I guess, okay, so she is taking it again in August, which is great. That'll be her 3rd attempt. But it's clear to me that Debbie should be also, I hope you're signed up for September. If not, the deadline is approaching quickly. So hopefully you'll sign up for September. I hope this episode even goes out in time for her to sign up for.
I'm going to put a note that this one needs to go out before Tuesday, whatever day this comes out. It's going to be out before the 22nd, which is the registration deadline. Is the 22nd.
Yeah, Tuesday the 22nd. And so if you're taking it in August, you have to take it also in September.
Yep.
And I would also sign up for October, because one thing I feel like, given your range, it seems clear to me that you're doing something different on your official test than you did on all your practice tests. People do have a range, But
It
boy,
is a
you'd
little.
have to have a pretty wide range. Like, I guess maybe if she's an average 170, then she can score 178 sometimes and 163 sometimes.
Still a huge range.
That's a pretty high range at that level. I
Yeah.
mean, because if you're scoring 170 average, then you basically have the ability to understand what you're doing. And yeah, I just feel like Debbie's probably chasing that 178. I think that 178 was probably lucky. That was on your high end, Debbie. You haven't done it again since. The highest you've done since then is a 175. And you're like, so you're celebrating those so much. You say you're proud of them. And okay, that's fine, but you can't then chase that. You have to be comfortable with your whole range. And so my fear is that Debbie's going into each new official test chasing that 175, 178. Today's the day. I got to really leave it all out there on the field, and you're doing something that you wouldn't do in your practice tests. And in your practice test, it sounds like you're effortlessly scoring low to mid 170s. Well, that's what I need you to do on this official test in August is to just effortlessly go out there and score something in the low 170s because that's a huge improvement over your 163. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like a ratchet effect, right? So every point you score higher than a 163 raises the floor to where you can't ever be lower than that ever again. Even if you
Right.
do score lower, it doesn't matter because law schools only care about your highest score. But you're, I think, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. You're trying for your best ever performance on the day of the official test. You're putting all your eggs in one basket because you're not signing up for tests back to back to back to back to back. Yeah, I think that's my advice. Do you have more you want to say to Debbie?
I don't think so. It's the same thing. Don't think about the score. Think about the question that's in front of you.
Yeah.
Always. Always.
Yeah. Solve
And
one question at a time. Stop
yeah.
trying to finish the sections. People who have one time scored a 178, they might get in their head that, like, oh, well, if I'm going to do that again, or if I'm going to
Mhm.
score 179 or 180, then I have to finish the section. And you start rushing, you start trying to force your best possible outcome, and then that causes you to actually score at the bottom of your range because you're just reading a tiny bit too quickly, not really understanding what's going on. You're making some casual mistakes, you're failing to see the shortcuts. A question where if you would have attacked it better, if you would have taken 5 more seconds reading the passage, it would have taken you 50 fewer seconds to find the right answer. And instead, you're trying to shave off 5 seconds in how you read it, which then costs you, a minute or more in actually answering the question, or God forbid, missing the question. Uh,
Um to
yeah,
that point, I had a 180 practice test. I had multiple above a 177. I got a particularly dense RC passage that took me longer. I did not finish my RC section. I scored a 174. But I didn't say, well, I've scored 180s. I have to finish. I,
right.
I did it the exact same way that I would have done it as a practice test. And I just did every question right. Right. Like you're, you just have to do the same thing. You can't change it. Can't change it for the score.
Yeah, you just can't go out there like trying to shoot your personal best every time. That's not you gotta play your game, not your very best 99th percentile game. If you swing for the fences, you're gonna strike out. You got to be out there trying to
Put a
get
ball in play.
base hits. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Thanks, Debbie. Please email daily@lsatdemon.com if you would like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.